So when I ended my stream yesterday, I was trying to figure out the right way of passing state uh, from parent widget to child widget and vice versa. And then after the stream, I took another look at it. I tried a couple of things, including inherited widget. And what I ended up with was just creating this controller, which is just a class that has uh, a single function. And when I create the child widget, I pass the controller in, and then I can call since I have a reference to the controller, I can call it. So here's where I pass it in. Since I have a reference to the controller, I can call it from the parent. And so right now what I'm doing is calling on playing status changed. And what that looks like here is that now I have the play button is set up so that when you press it, it starts speaking. Now let me turn on the audio for you guys. So when I press it, it starts speaking.
0, 1, 2,
and then when I
3,
pause it,
4,
it
5.
stops speaking. And the way that works is in the child widget, which is the web view, there's this implementation on playing status changed, and it's taking the status of whether it's playing, which is just a Boolean. And it also takes as an argument the Flutter TTS service itself. And if we are playing, we're going to enter the play loop. And then as long as the is playing is true, which we keep a local copy of, then we're just going to loop over the stuff to play. So that's straightforward. I now want to change it so that we have fast forward and rewind. And what I think that I'm going to represent. So one thing I could do is have an enum that's like play, fast forward, rewind. But then if I do that, I have to keep some separate state saying whether to resume playing after rewind or fast forward. So I'm going to keep this separate and just change the function to also include fast forward and rewind. And maybe the way to do that is maybe I'll pass an int called seek changed. And so far I don't have an implementation using the audio place. I'm grabbing stuff here and looping over it. So this needs to be changed to use audio place, which is the name that I have for the data structure that is tracking where we are, essentially a queue. In iOS, I think probably also in Android, there's a queue that's maintained by the text-to-speech service. And for example, in iOS, if you ask it to pause and then resume, it'll resume from its queue. But if you ask it to stop, it will get rid of its queue. I think that because people are going to be able to like pause and rewind and stuff, it's probably easier for me to maintain the queue myself so that I can so I don't have to worry about things like when I rewind, I would have to ask the TTS service somehow to invalidate parts of its queue and then add new ones and so on. I think that's going to be harder than just maintaining the queue position myself. All right, so we have to do that. We have to use audio place, and then when seek changed, we're going to have to figure out how to do plus and minuses. So let's ignore that for now. Let's do audio place first. And I feel like the parent widget doesn't need to care about audio place. It seems reasonable to me at this stage, at least, that only the web view needs to know about the audio place. Eventually, it will have to be persisted to the database. And that seems like something the web view shouldn't have to care about. But on the other hand, it's extra work passing it up to the parent widget, and I'm not sure that that's where the state will be kept anyway. So let's try just maintaining audio plays here in the lector web view state. I'll hop over to my cursors design, which tells me what I was thinking. Hey, wait a minute. Why are these not highlighted? Here we go. Okay, so the audio place has an ID of that we're currently speaking and some text spans. And I think I already implemented these in Dart. In fact, this looks like valid Dart. I could rip all of this out all at once when the file is loaded. I don't see a real reason not to do that. At the very least, I could load in several ahead of time. You know, if you're starting in the middle of a long document, you can load in maybe the next 10 or 50 or whatever. But for now, we'll just load them on the fly. I guess I'll just call this audio places. Why is this not? Is this not the way to say that something's a list? Oh, okay. All right. So let's see. You know, I don't think this should be a list. I think this should. Maybe it should be like a sparse list or a map. Because how often are we going to go through the whole document all at once? I think that's fine for small documents. For large documents, it might be a problem. The linked hash map iterates in key insertion order. The plain hash map is unordered. It is generally not allowed to modify the map, add or remove keys while an operation is being performed on the map, for example, in functions called during a for each or put if absent call. Modifying the map while iterating the keys or values may also break the iteration. A linked hash map is an insertion ordered map with expected constant time lookup. A non-constant map literal, like blah blah blah, this is a linked hash map, and the keys are iterated in key insertion order. And so what would I have to do for like a sparse list type thing? I'd have to check if the thing is inserted, and if it's not, I would have to populate it. I guess that's fine. Let's try that. So this will be a map. A linked hash map from, I guess, int to audio place. Let's do that again. I was seeing if I could figure out what something I'd done before, but it's not in my undo history. Okay, so I need to re-import audio place. Okay, so seek in general will be what's the word? 0. So if seek, Jesus, I was playing music and then I guess YouTube normalization is not perfect. Because all of a sudden it was just way too loud. Okay. So if seek is greater than 0, then this is the fast forward condition. Else if seek is less than 0, this is the rewind condition. And I think I only need to care about whether it's non-zero. If seek is not 0, then fast forward or rewind. We're just going to take the Here, I think I have an index variable, right? I'll just call it current index. So if seek is non-zero, then we'll say current index plus or minus seek, or rather plus equals seek. And we should pause playing by doing what? I'm not sure. I guess calling stop. I think sometimes for the, I think I've seen people sometimes with Flutter, not with Flutter TTS, but on Android, also speak an empty string. But maybe we'll just see if what happens without that. I'm trying to stop text to speech when back button is pressed, but speech is not stopping, even if I close the app. Only when I clear cache, stop speaking. How can I solve this? You need to ensure set engine by package name contains a valid package name of a text to speech engine that is installed on the device, such as this. Not applying this parameter will bind the engine selected as the device default in the text to speech settings. So not applying this parameter will bind the engine selected. So you select some engine, it will bind it as the device default. Okay. Okay. And this one says stop, shut down, super on pause. Maybe you are creating numerous text to speech objects. Okay. So maybe I need to do that. I'm not sure. What is this? You have to have a valid package name. And then what is text to speech Flutter TTS stop return? It returns a dynamic. Great. But what does it actually return? Dynamic is basically useless. So I guess this one returns a future void. This is TTS web. I guess this it returns some sort of result, and you can check whether it's one. I don't know what you're supposed to do if it refuses to stop. I guess you just abandon all hope. Okay, so we're gonna call stop. I guess we'll get a result. I is it a future result? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, so we have to await it. I'll consider this a severe error for now until I know when this is supposed to happen. I see what's happening. YouTube is readjusting my operating system level volume. How's that legal? Are you using Pipewire? This is a weird Pipewire thing. That's insane. This is crazy. Is this closed or open? Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have this on other installs. This is like the undoing what the user intends is one of the ugliest things you can do. I feel like as an app. I don't know if this is Firefox's fault or KDE's fault. Seems like people are blaming Firefox. But I don't want like uh, ear blistering noise. Oh well, whatever. All right, so back to the code. So Flutter TTS might refuse to stop. At any rate, so we're going to pause playing, and by pause I mean stop, and then what? And then change the current index, and then if we go down here, then is playing will still be set to whatever it was set here, and so that will be fine. And that seems like that's more or less what we want. Except down here, instead of using IDX, you want to set current index. In fact, we can just call refactor here. And so get text for ID. This should populate. So if we get no text, so if the text is the empty string, that's a problem. Otherwise, we should set it in the map. I don't know what the thing is. Maybe like this. So that at the current index is going to be some audio plays at the current index. And its text span. I guess I don't need to. Don't I store the text in the text span? I do. Okay, so the text span, I guess, is going to be. Oh, it's a. 1 second. So I guess we might as well. So this text span wants a list, and I was going to say let's just assume that the list is always a trivial list. But why don't I actually implement it? So let's do it outside of the let's do it outside of this call to the map insert. It wants me to say var text spans. I don't want to do that. Okay, so we need to start offset and end offset and some text. And this is going to depend on how big the text is. And I'm not sure what a good chunk is. So let's try. I think this is a reasonable paragraph length. The- So this is saying that the average paragraph is 200 words. So why don't we make that the about the limit? And I'll ask the the AIs to do it. In fact, let's try to get Gemini to do it. Here, explain code, suggest improvements. So say write some Dart code that takes a chunk of long text called txt. I'll say it takes a string of long text called txt and slices it up into paragraphs of average length around 200 words. So what is 200 words? About 4.79 letters. But it always stops at a all right, so it divides into length of 200 words. It should stop at a sentence boundary if possible. If not possible, it should try to locate natural breaks. If it can't locate natural breaks, it should just make some sort of arbitrary decision about where to. It shouldn't be arbitrary. It should at least stop at a word boundary. Okay, so what it suggests is we're going to split it into, we're going to call split into paragraphs text 200. Oh wait, I missed a bunch of stuff. Split it into paragraphs with target words. I don't want to give it target words. And I think this is 2 lines. So we have some list paragraphs, which is a list of string. And I think it just decided to change the name of the thing. So list string of sentences, we're going to text split at some white space stuff. It looks like. Oh, I guess this goes to the next line. And the current paragraph is set to be the empty string. The word count is 0. This is trying to do a like for each loop, but it's missing a space here. And it wants to split the sentence into words at spaces. If word count is bigger than or equal to target words, paragraphs.add current paragraph trim. Current paragraph equals sentence. Word count is equal to words.length. Shouldn't it be like plus equals words.length? Oh no. Okay, I see what's going on. And then the current paragraph, we're adding a sentence. And if the current paragraph is non-empty, then we're going to add the current paragraph dot trim. We're going to return paragraphs. Okay, so the second argument is the target words is the number of words that we're looking for. So this is some regular expression. We've got negative look behind to avoid splitting on abbreviations like e.g. or i.e. Then we have negative look behind to avoid splitting on abbreviations like Mr. or Doctor. So I guess this is things with 2 dots. This is a thing with 1 dot. And then a positive look behind to ensure the split occurs after a period or a question mark. And this matches white space. The code currently prioritizes sentence boundaries to incorporate natural breaks, commas. You could add logic within the loop to check if these characters, if the word count is close to the target. And then if no natural sentence break is found, the code implicitly splits at word boundaries when starting a new paragraph. Okay, so is this a common enough task that there would be well-studied algorithms or libraries that do it well? So I guess it's using natural language processing, text summarization, document formatting, sentence boundary disambiguation. Yeah, I'm not using NLTK. Okay. I mean, I don't know if this is valid code, but in fact, I know that parts of it are not valid, but let's try it. I'm not sure what the unit testing, not standards, but like where do people put files, that sort of thing. Testing Flutter apps, etc., etc. Flutter test. I think they want to go in a single directory. Test a plugin. Okay, so Flutter says test should be in a test folder. I'm not a fan of the test folder. Okay, so here's Text Splitter. We'll just paste this code in here. We'll add a new test. I'll ask ChatGPT to help me with the idiomatic unit testing. So I'll test if the list foo has fewer than 3 elements. I think the length of a paragraph is what? The words? It's a string. So I guess that's the length is the number of characters. Okay, so this fails, which is fine. Let's grab this and make sure that this is counting what I think it's counting. What the? So 376 characters. Okay, so for some reason, uh, this is counting one extra character. Okay, so that's fine. Do I want to split it based on characters or words? Let's ask Gemini to rewrite it. Rewrite this so that we are splitting on, so that instead of aiming for 200 words, we are aiming for 800 characters using the same requirements on splitting. Okay, so let's make sure that this has changed a little bit. So we have, okay, so now we're keeping character count, which is the being compared to sentence length. What was that being compared to before? Before it was using word count and it had this words.length thing. Do we still have words? No, we were doing an extra split here for words. Okay. So that seems better, I guess. Okay, now the tests pass. Although, should they? Okay, I'm asking it to split it 200. Okay, and I think that since the average word is only about a little bit over 4, the average paragraph is according to the web search, which could be citing a totally bogus statistic, is about 200 words long. The average word is between 4 and 5. I think 1,000 is a nice round number. for characters. Okay, so this is one test. Has fewer than 1,000 characters. Let's try something truly long. And how about Ulysses? The Paris first edition to the Paris first edition of Ulysses is arguably in the public domain. So let's grab this. Let's make it a Dart file. I'm too lazy to look up how to import a text file. No, I'm not. Let's do it properly. So I'll say James Joyce run on paragraphs or of bounded length, and we'll just take this file. I should be copying and pasting it instead of retyping, but I'm not. Okay, so we'll say final text equals await. And I guess I'd like to see what the paragraphs look like. That did not do what I thought it would do. That didn't work at all. Okay, I'll have to figure it out later because